University has been at the center of the debate over how systemic anti-Semitism has become on college campuses. In the aftermath of the October 7th attack, there's been a striking increase, a spike in anti-Semitic speech and more on campuses, particularly at Harvard and at colleges really across the country. Former Harvard University President Larry Summers wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post entitled, "The Cancer of Anti-Semitism is Spreading. Colleges Must Take the Right Stand." And Larry Summers, who's also the former Treasury Secretary, is joining me now. Thank you so much for being here. So for years, when students have made complaints or shared concerns about anti-Semitism that they have either witnessed or been victim of, they have been told there's nothing administrators can do because it's political speech, which is free speech. And rhetoric has been accepted for the most part, or ignored, or both. Why?
Look, there's been a problem on college campuses generally, and it's been a problem at Harvard as well, that there's just been a double standard in the way university leaders have responded to racism, to other forms of prejudice, and the way they've responded to what is pretty clearly anti-Semitism, or at least has anti-Semitism as its effect. And I don't know why those mistakes have been made, but they have been serious, and there's something that Israeli students have been aware of for quite some time. If there's any silver lining in the tragic events that have taken place recently, it's that it's brought anti-Semitism to the fore as a major issue, and I think it is being taken more seriously. But the problem is not to condemn anti-Semitism. The problem is to maintain a broadly tolerant and open community. Mm-hmm. And that means you have to make sure that students don't enter classrooms with megaphones and disrupt classes. That means you have to respond firmly, strongly, and clearly when people occupy buildings. That means you have to set the tone for the discourse by condemning sloganeering where the intent and the effect is very clear, like these calls for globalizing intifada. I've been critical on many dimensions of the leadership at Harvard, but I've been glad that our President Gay very explicitly condemned the chant "From the river to the sea," and I hope the leaders of more institutions will join her in that condemnation.
Well, I want you to listen to something that she said, the current president of Harvard, Claudine Gay. She is among those testifying on Capitol Hill. Listen to her opening statement.
During these difficult days, I have felt the bonds of our community strain. In response, I have sought to confront hate while preserving free expression. The free exchange of ideas is the foundation upon which Harvard is built, and safety and well-being are the prerequisites for engagement in our community. Without both of these things, our teaching and research mission founder.
So you said that she did condemn the statement that we've seen, not just a statement, the protest, the mantra "From the river to the sea," which most Jews do consider blatantly anti-Semitic. But beyond that, do you think that she and others have taken the moment that you just talked about, October 7th, and have used it as a tool to start overhauling this problem that has been going on for years in higher education?
The ideals that President Gay expresses are just the right ones, but there's a lot of work to do. You know, one survey, and who knows whether it's right, ranked Harvard dead last out of 240 institutions on free speech. And so we have a lot of work to do on many dimensions. I think a place it starts with the way you respond to disruptions, the way you respond to events. I was disappointed when our graduate student union made a statement that I think can only be regarded as vile in its anti-Semitism, and there was no response from the Harvard administration.
Can I just ask you
I've been
about that?
disappointed by the lack of response in general to maintain order in the face of some of the protests. But look, things are moving. There are responses underway, and we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But the right standard is the same responses they give to racism.
As somebody who was in academia for a long time, why is it so difficult for university administrators to respond forcefully to anti-Semitism?
I think that the issues around anti-Semitism are related to issues around political diversity. And in a variety of communities that regard themselves as highly progressive, there is an affinity for positions vis-a-vis the Middle East that many of us find deeply problematic. And I think because that community is so large within universities, there has been a reluctance on the part of administrators to take it on. I saw that myself when years ago as president, I condemned the boycott, divest, sanction Israel movement and saw how much controversy that statement generated. But I think the issues around anti-Semitism, and particularly before October 7th, the failure to confront it can't be separated from the broader issues of political diversity, the broader issues of identity politics.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be very important to find a new synthesis as we work our way through this. That's what I tried to express in the editorial to which you referred.
Yes, and you did so well, and I'm very grateful that you came on to talk even more about it on this day when your successor and others are testifying about this very, very big problem on universities, campuses across the country. Thank you so much, former Harvard president, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers. Appreciate it.
Thank you.